Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the latest episode of the Karaha Fantasy Basketball League podcast. Don't have my co-host Lenny. He's gone MIA again. Can't back down. But we got special guest Kahn, aka Carnage, aka Mr. Blow Your Team Up after 1 week. Welcome. It's good to
What's up, bro? Good to be on the pod finally.
That's good. So that was your second year in the league. Last year was your first year. It'd be good to hear your first impressions of what you thought the characters in our league. I suppose the first day was draft day. Let us know your thoughts, your honest thoughts on the people in the league.
Yeah, so I think it's widely known that I was misled into joining the league that I thought was going to be a real low key, casual, like set and forget. Everyone loves NBA, but it's not that hectic kind of league, which is just what I was looking for to get back into fantasy after a couple of years away. And then I turned up and it was like spreadsheet mayhem, bro. Everyone had their fucking like heavy set Excel spreadsheets running, like full basketball analytics, like advanced stats. Everyone was like right in there, man. It was I was blown away. Not in a positive way. I was like, fuck, what have I got myself into? This is gonna be a fucking we had to sell it to my wife because she isn't too keen on me investing so much time in fantasy when I with the kids and everything. But we got there in the end. I think last year I was kind of a bit of a deer in the headlights because of that. So it took me a little while to get my team. Well, I fucked the team completely up. Ended up with like 10 different teams throughout the year. But I got in the swing of like just the matchups and like how everyone operates. So that was kind of like a good practice year. And then this year I came in knowing full well what to expect, how important the draft was. Although my main goal for the draft was just not to get mocked by Kere for my team, because that happened last year and I was shook as. So there's that part of it, but in terms of the characters, man, it's second to none. Like it's everyone's vocal, everyone is everyone's passionate and confident. So yeah, I think I mean, not to mention how organized the league is. It's more organized than the fucking mafia, man. It's so everything about it has been super engaging. Like I was like halfway through last year, I was like, man, I ain't playing this again. As the season kind of went on and I got more into the swing of it, I was like, I'll be back definitely. Like it's, I know what I have to do. So yeah, I go MIA every so often. I mute the chat just because otherwise I get too distracted at work, but I'll always be back. So it's good, man. And this year's obviously started a lot better for me than last year. And hopefully I'll keep that going. But I get this feeling that everyone is expecting the next blockbuster trade that's not going to go in my favor. That's going to mean my team is absolutely terrible. Just so you all know, that's not going to happen. I'm not taking any hours this year, so we're here.
Okay. And so were you shocked at anything? So it sounds like you're a bit surprised on how was it organized the league was, or how active it was last year?
Just active and like engaged, like how everyone was using hashtag basketball monster, like all the advanced schedule tools for like for streaming and all that kind of stuff. That was what really I think threw me out. I didn't properly use any of that probably until about halfway through the season, and I probably wasn't competitive because of that. And then what that led to was me just completely blowing my team up, because I was like, fuck, I need to improve this, or I need to improve that. And then I got into a bit of a habit of just like trading for the endorphin kick, the dopamine hit of somebody accepting the trade, because I knew that my team was that by then it wasn't winning shit.
Are you still trying that though, or
nah? I think you'll notice from the trades that I'm sending through. There's none of that shit this year. I'm looking for slight tweaks and like positional stuff, but I'm not trying to blow the team up or do anything for fun anymore. It's like Zach said when you guys reviewed the draft, like had the first pick, congrats, didn't fuck it up. So I'm trying to keep that mindset consistently. See if I can improve the team gradually through the through the wire or through the odd trade here and there. But I done that trade with Kere. Mixed results so far. It was always going to be a risk with Embiid's injury history, and Drew was injured at the time. Potentially if Embiid hadn't started the season so slowly, and if Drew wasn't injured, Kere probably wouldn't have made that trade at all. So it was kind of time and place. I wasn't overly loving having SGA on my team either. Like he doesn't get stocks, or he gets a little bit, but at the moment he's getting well below average. So it wasn't really kind of doing it for me, even though he's got the point guard, shooting guard eligibility, and he scores well and whatnot. I didn't love that pick. So kind of wanted to rectify that. And Nurk was like, I picked Nurk because I went hard on guards after Giannis, and then I went what did I think? I went Melo, SGA, Edwards, and then Nurk. So that was just the best available center at the time. He's been okay, but he wasn't what I was kind of putting my hopes on for the build.
I think you definitely won that trade. Like, you bought Embiid and Drew really low. I think you definitely won. Like, Embiid, and again, it comes down to like Embiid is kind of expected to get top 10 results. Like, when he comes back and he starts producing the numbers that he's meant to, no one's going to be surprised. It's going to be like, okay, he's playing Embiid. And last year he was like dope until he got injured. Everyone expected, but he was playing back-to-backs and things like that. So, and Drew's obviously slow start, injured. Again, if Drew starts averaging, almost 2 steals a game, almost 20 points a game, he's going to get, 5 and 5 probably. I definitely think you won that trade. So last year then, you're a bit shocked. You liked how active the league was, how organized it is. What about this year? Does it change with the 2 extra players? What do you think of Renz and Bojan?
I think they've added like a really good dynamic to the league. Like Renz is, he's got his notable kind of draft day faux pas with the Ben Simmons pick, which going back, if I had known that, I would have been vocal for the pause and rewind for that pick. But at the end of the day, like, his squad is really good. I think I heard you say on the last pod that if the players regress to their averages, then he's probably sit around the middle of the pack. But in saying that, if he can get Simmons in a better situation, or a situation where he's actually playing, that's a triple-double threat.
Yeah,
most nights.
I've been someone playing to think the problem.
Yeah, and if Luka actually starts, when you say that players are regressing, Luka's actually well behind where he should be. So if he actually gets to his nightly triple-double, 30, 40 points, with good percentages where he should be, and I imagine he will, that team is a real problem. And he's already shown that he uses the wire really well. Like, I had Harrison Barnes, I think, at the draft or just after the draft, and I was like, it's going to be the same old Harrison. Like, even though I needed a small forward, power forward, I gave up, and before he completely set fire to everyone, and so he did really well taking on guys like him and Kuzma and RJ Barrett and stuff like that, who have been really hot. I think big man on that team, there's probably a little bit of work to do, maybe a couple trades to there's a few teams that are overly loaded in big men, so could be a trade there for your ends. I'm really intrigued by, like, on the draft, I was like, damn, that's a team. Like, that's a team to beat when the draft finished. And as the weeks have gone by, I'm kind of like, team is still like hellishly good. Like, in the playoffs, it's going to be a problem. But the strategy, I don't subscribe to it. Like, believe me, I would love, based on my comments about last year, I'd love to not have to stream. If I could just set a team, at the start of the week and that be the team, I'd be really happy with that, because of the energy and research that it takes to analyze the schedule and do all that kind of stuff. But for this league, I can't see that one. You may not even get into the playoffs, even with that good team, if you don't, especially with it being only 50% making it in. there's already a real it's looking like a bit of a two-stroke league at the moment in terms of the haves and the have-nots are kind of being separated a little bit in the early weeks. You don't want to get left behind, man. B. So I would really start doing some trades, man.
About B's team is that so it's going to be day 4 today, and I'm going to finish day 4 6-1 up, and I haven't used the matchup yet. And I kind of want to show them like my team's beating yours after not using any matchups either. Like your team, like you can't win that way.
So damn, David, you're really hitting him with the flex on his flex.
Yeah, and the thing is, I kind of want to show him today, day 4, and he had like a ridiculous day yesterday. Like he got like 150 points and like crazy shooting percentages. So I was a little bit scared about my little flex, but like I can have 5 extra more games than him this week after today, and that just means that there's absolutely no way he can beat me. Like after 4 days of not using matchups, there's no way he can beat me. But I don't know. He's like he's going to be doomed. He's going to have to start, or he's doomed because he's going to be 2-2. He played Lenny and Dre, who Dre's obviously the worst in our league. From my view, is that your view also?
I have to agree with you. Like Dre, when I looked at Dre's team after the draft, I let me just go back to B. Actually, I want to elaborate on that part of the conversation, because B, I bowled with B. You might not remember, I bowled with him at Trust Stadium, Coggy and Wayne and all those dudes for a season or two. That man he's a tough dude, man, and he can play. Like I remember, little dude, but slick as with the ball, real dish, like had the range, like real good stroke. Stubborn as all hell, man, and I feel like I can see that coming through in this league. And I think because he's been given so much heat by the likes of you about his strategy, I feel like he's just going to double down, man. I don't know, B, what do you got, bro? Are you gonna take this shit? Are you gonna pivot? You got some pieces you can shed. But Bogdanovic, he's 60% owned. You can find him every other week on the wire, and I think you got to make some moves. But I'm happy if you don't, because I want the easiest run to the title. But I also want to beat all the best on the way. So that's my comments on B's approach. Like I was really keen to see. That's why I asked early on. I was like, has anyone ever run the numbers on what it would actually equate to if you just kept your same team and ran for a whole season? Like how would that pan out in terms of like games played and whatnot? But it's miles off. Like even me, I've been running one for some of the weeks and just keeping a set player. And I already see when I do the forecast at the start of the week, like games played is so much behind on people that are keeping those 2 streaming spots. So it can't be done. Like I'm writing it off right now.
I don't see him making the playoffs. He actually listens to the podcast, but then he turns the podcast off when people start bagging him. So he says he usually gets 10 minutes in.
All right.
But I don't think you've bagged him.
No, man, I think he drafted like an absolute whiz, man.
His team is ridiculous. Like he I reckon he'd be the best team in the league if she streamed. But yeah, it's just.
Oh, when you look at Miles Bridges, like let me talk about Miles Bridges just 1 minute. Like last pick of the draft, like I didn't even consider picking him. Even that was a big miss because I looked at all the guys that were real hot at the end of last season. Like that's why I bought into Isaiah Stewart like an idiot at like 70 something pick. But like Bridges, if you just looked at his splits from last year, he was averaging 20 points a game for 2 months of the season. Like to end like on good splits, like getting boards, getting assists, and I didn't even consider him. So to have the presence of mind to go, I'm going to take him, and and obviously most of us use those last 2 picks to just test and learn on players, not really because it's a streaming spot. But the man knew that he was taking him to keep him, and it's panned out. And the front of his roster is heavy too. Like that's a heavy roster.
Like KD's been crazy. The thing about B though is that with Miles Bridges, he was obviously going to regress. He wasn't going to be top 10. He might be like top 30, top 40, which is where he's probably sitting at now. I don't think like Harrell is going to be able to keep those numbers. He's too inconsistent.
Fun fact about Harrell, he is I follow this Twitter account called Hoop Central. And they just like tweet out different random takes and basketball reference stuff and whatnot. On the updated MVP tracker for today via Basketball Reference, Harrell is number 6 on that list for MVP, like based on his numbers. So like the man's won 2 Six Man of the Years, so he can win awards and he can put up numbers and on decent teams, but MVP, like he's ahead of Giannis, DeRozan, Chris Paul, Levine. The list goes Curry, Jokic, Durant, Butler, Gobert.
They got Harrell there. The thing about Harrell is that also in Washington they got like a few injuries. He's going to need the minutes to produce. As soon as they get Bryant, Roy Hutchum, I don't know how to say his surname. He's going to go, if he goes from like 33 minutes to 28 minutes, that's a big drop off for him.
Yeah. He's like a 15 and 6 guy once their minutes go back to where his career averages. But I don't know, he's not really been in a situation as good as this one. And the fact that he's like played so well to be, in the top 5 of centers or whatever he is sitting at the moment, he may keep it up. He may Thomas Bryant was never amazing. Like he was a solid center. He was lucky to have the circumstances that he did, where he had no competition for minutes. Harrell might stay a 30-minute a night guy, and he's still going to be really good. But these types of things are going to mean that B is going to have really, really tough time pivoting from what he's doing unless he makes some trades. So, hit my line, bro. I'm always here to talk.
Cool. So we'll do a little bit of breakdown of how you're tracking this season. But let's talk about the beautiful game of the All-Star game last year. Tell us your thoughts.
I don't want to talk about that.
Going into it, you're pretty confident. Your team did talk a little bit. I can give my view on your performance. So obviously I played with you a little bit. It was a few years ago, prior to kids and getting married and injuring your back. And you're 100 times better than that performance of the All-Star game. You're the type of player that when I played with you was like you could drive, make layups. Your stroke was quite inconsistent. It felt like sometimes you were good and you're confident and you might have like 2 games in a row where you're like hitting it. Then other times you like just wouldn't take a jump shot.
Streaky as hell.
And like you would just be hesitant and you just wouldn't shoot at all. But you always had like your driving and your defense. I did talk a little bit about trying to get into your head and try and getting you angry if needed. That was up our sleeve.
That's the best form of defense. Easy. Yeah. Normally it's the ref that does it, but if the opposition does it, then it's game over.
Yeah. You might be on my team this year, so we won't go too much into that.
That's a fair summary of.
That's my summary of you.
I agree with that. It's a fair summary. All-Star game, I had every intention of getting off my ass, going for a run, playing some ball beforehand. And if I had done that, I would have probably been about 50% better than I was. I just was like, I'm just going to roll up and see how it all pans out. I wasn't getting a whole lot of vibes that everyone was, super fit. So I was like, yeah, it should be okay. But man, I'm like a shell of my former self in terms of physical ability. Like I used to rely on speed, semi decent vertical and like lateral movement and stuff like that. But it was embarrassing, man. I was blowing after like second time up the court. I think I didn't hit a shot for the first 3 games or 2 games or something like that. Started to hit a couple shots and got inside a little bit.
Baseline jumpers.
Yeah, I had it's never talked about enough, but I had a game-changing stop on you at one point there. So I can be a playmaker on D. Forced a turnover, and then I think George hit one of his game winners after that. So but if I can get off my ass and do some fitness and get a ball in my hands. I think I'll outplay my ADP, but it's a big if. That's why I was saying wait for the draft so I can get me some Ben Simmons workout videos. Real highly edited, hitting some big jumpers, wearing no shirt with a shredded rig. We'll see.
Okay.
But it was a fun day, man. Despite taking L's, we after the start of the games, I was like, man, we're done. Like, we're absolutely cooked. We're gonna get swept. We kept it far more competitive than I think we should have, based on the way that we were playing. But when you got that time pressure in your head, when you had to go to your game and you just went into the zone, no one was stopping you. Especially not us, not our fucking marshmallow asses running up and down the court, fucking blowing, nearly vomiting, fucking having to call timeouts, drinking every drip of the Powerade and the waters that the boys brought for us. So it was fun though. Fun having the prize giving. More fun having the drinks afterwards. Definitely saw another side of all the boys. This is like a tight knit group, man, and you definitely when the beers were flowing, you could see the personalities coming out, and it was good. It was real fun. It was definitely a big part of me coming back this year. Was that breakup, I think, was a really good way to spend the end of the season, and got me fired up for another All-Star game as well. So
to me that was. Because I didn't win the fantasy season, that was a highlight that day. Getting the dub, obviously, but it was pretty fun. So, so your team this year, people are rating you in number 1 or number 2. You drafted well. I think that trade is gonna pay off. Giannis is being Giannis. He's, I think, number 1 now in our league. I think Jokic was first, but now I think he's number 1. So that's pretty good. What? Who else are you worried about this year?
So for the first time this season, I did the summary of everyone's top players to see what they total out at, and you get, after a few weeks, you get a feel of who's punting, who's doing what, but just kind of put it on a page just to see how my team stacked up with everyone based on a mixture of their current stats of their best players, and then some of them you got to use the projections, guys like Lillard and some of those guys like Luka and that have been well below where they should be, and the only team that I would lose to, based on if all things were equal and there was the same number of games every week and everyone hit their averages, was your team. But it'll be close. It'll be 3 categories, I think, including field goal. That would be probably 50-50. So they'll be tight. But your team. What was that?
Yeah, you did it. Who was the only team that you would lose to?
Yours.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be close though. And I think you've still got a couple trades in your pocket that you're gonna make that will probably change the fortunes of yours and someone else's season. So we'll see. But then outside of that, Zach's team is, lots been said about Zach's team. He was middle of the draft, I think. Did reasonably well considering where he was drafting. He's made that trade for JV for Van Vliet, which I think was a masterstroke. Good buy low, sell high. JV is JV. He's having obviously the season of his life now. But Ingram's coming back today or tomorrow. Zion will be back this season, I'm predicting. So I think by the time the playoffs come around, JV is going to be back to his 15 and 10, sort of 14 and 11, whatever it may be. Van Vliet is going to continue to get better because he's nowhere near where he should be. So I think that was a big win. And then I've publicized the fact that he's got 699 owned players on his team, which I know that's a metric Zach uses to compare the strength of his teams. I never really thought of that previously because, there's always diamonds in the rough that are, below that ownership where they should be. But I I think he's got a trade or two to make to get his backcourt thinned out and get a couple big men. That worries me. I think he's going to be when he does make that trade, and like I said, he's going to be just ready and waiting for somebody to make a mistake on analyzing a trade, and he's going to win another trade, and he's going to be well in the top 3 once that happens. So that's exciting, though. You want to beat the best. He's the defending champ. I beat him first week. It was a draw, and then we got a block adjusted, so it turned into an outright win. Zach made a critical error, I think, on the last day where he dropped Plumlee and picked up Franz Wagner, which is not a bad move. Like, Wagner's like filling it up; he's doing everything. But Plumlee well exceeded his averages that day in terms of blocks and boards, and he would have won blocks and won the game. So I count my lucky chickens that I got the win there. But I think Zach's always going to be a problem because he's a savvy GM, and he knows how to work the wire. Really, really good at sort of maximizing those matchups every week. Who else?
Just on Zach, the one thing that Zach is the best at is making trades. Like he attacks the vulnerable. He has like mental game is probably the best in the league. In terms of like convincing people that it's a good trade, that it's going to go through. He's probably fleeced the most people over the years. But the thing is, people have kind of caught on, and people are kind of like, nah, I don't want to touch Zach because I feel like I'm getting fleeced, even if it's a good trade. But that Fred VanVleet for Jonas was definitely by low sell high.
Yeah. I would never have made that if I was holding VanVleet, because you were never going to get value for him at that time. And Jonas could sustain crazy numbers, and then maybe it will pan out. But VanVleet is VanVleet, man. He's elite threes, steals, assists, good in points, good in rebounds. Like, he'll fuck your field goal percentage all the way up. But he's a good point guard, shooting guard. He's a like foundational piece to build your team around. So that was a big one. Who else is there? There's George has obviously got a heavy duty team. When you look at Jokic, depending on how he pans out after they play the Heat again, he might get killed. Someone related to the Morris family might shoot him, but you never know how that's going to go. Got my popcorn ready for the Jokic brothers revenge, but pairing Nikola with Harden and Westbrook is elite. The team outside of that is not super deep when I looked at it. So a couple injuries, and that might be curtains, but he's going to walk through the next few weeks, I imagine, and be well in playoff contention. That team is definitely like no one's beaten them in assists. Field goal is probably going to be pretty good, and then outside of that, he's got a good couple of trades left in him, I'm imagining. So George is definitely one of the favorites. Who else have we got? Tell me some of the other good teams. I'm blanking.
I consider us for the top, and then you got Boyan if he plays. AJ's team isn't bad.
Yes, yeah. So AJ and Farrell are the two. They're the two wild cards for me. Yeah. Like, both have really, really good backcourts. Like heavy duty backcourts. Farrell's got LeBron and DeJounte Murray, so he's got like good all-round players that that fill the box score, get boards, assists, points. He's got good positional flexibility. I just looked at his team because I'm playing him next week. Good. He's got a squad.
You've already read enough this week.
Yeah, no, like I don't have many matchups left, so there's not much I can do this week. So I just got to let it just play out. But, I think it's a 6-1, just unless something crazy happens, just based on the forecast. Sorry, Kede, and that's without Embiid.
Sorry, Kede, just try harder next time.
Yeah. So Farrell next week will be tough. But I think his team, if LeBron doesn't sit too much, like if he comes back soon, and he plays like, let's say 70% of the remaining games, then that team is in the playoffs. And he's got a build. Like his build is definitely set up to do what he wants it to do. So I think he's going to be a tough match for anyone. AJ's team is like he's got studs. Like he's got Curry, Gobert. Who else has he got? Let me just bring his team up.
That's the thing. I'm not even lying. Curry and Gobert.
Where's AJ at? I can't keep up with everyone's names, man. All the name changes.
Have you searched what 1 Samuel 15:3 is?
I have not.
Name is?
I will though.
It's hilarious. So,
is it a Mormon biblical verse?
So it's a biblical verse, and what it is like, now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys.
Jeez.
That's his thing. We're playing George this week. They're like the Amalekites were like enemies of Israel, and so it's like a Jew. That's I thought that's like one of the best names.
That's quality, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, looking at his team, it's top heavy. Like, you kind of go Curry, Gobert, Jaylen Brown, and then it's like a big gap between there and like Tobias Harris, Jakob Poeltl. So yeah, I think he called it the other day. He said he's a trade away from being solid. He's got by the looks of his team, he's got to do a 2-for-1 to get a bit more sort of bolster up front a little bit, the top of his roster. But AJ's he's like a really savvy GM as well. You can see the way he's operated through the draft, the 2 drafts that I've seen him do, the trades that he's done. He's a tough operator as well. Like when you're trying to talk trades with him, he doesn't get swayed from the numbers and what he should be doing. So I think he's going to be there or thereabouts. Injuries are definitely taking a toll. Like looking at he's got Jaylen Brown and Poeltl out now, and he's relying on like old man Horford and Giddey and some of those dudes. So that's going to be the big one, is if he can make a couple trades and get that roster a bit strengthened. And then the other teams that were pretty solid were. Did we talk about your team? We said your team. Yeah, your team's heavy duty, man. Like you need some guards by the looks of it.
I'm trying to get a guy, and PG, but then again, Jar's my main point guard and PJ is my main shooting guard. I'm not going to complain. I'm looking to get a PG shooting guard, and I'm tossing up between Graham and Maxey. The thing is, Graham is still rosterable. Like he's sitting around 60th at the moment.
He's all right.
The thing is, 60th is fine for my last player, right? Like
16 points, three threes, 5 assists, 1.3 steals. Like that's
because he gets threes and steals, which because I'm punting a couple categories. He's good for me. Like
I think Holmes is like Holmes or Jaren Jackson or KP. You got to move to get a point guard, shooting guard.
Yeah, I think Jaren Jackson just got C on Yahoo. He's playing mostly center now because Steven Adams isn't getting any minutes. So therefore, Jaren Jackson at center. So he's going to get center. The thing is, because Anthony Davis got center, I'm going to have 4 PFCs, and I'm also going to have like one other power forward. So I need to move. I might end up having to do Anthony Davis 2-for-1 and just go hard on Jaren Jackson Jr. and KP. Guys,
Oh, you got lots of potential there, and I think you don't need to rush into making any trades because doesn't look like you're going to take any L's for a little while. So until you play me.
I'm gonna beat B this week. So I'm gonna have 5 more games in, and then I'm already up 6-1. Your Kide, Fred, and Andre are the 3 worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Kid is going to start off 4-0. One of Andre or Lenny's team's going to end up 4-0. Who's your money on to come last out of them 3?
I think, like, roster as it stands right now, probably Dre, just because he's got half his team like not holds when you look at it. And Lillard is like potentially injured, not playing well. So yeah, I got to say Dre at this point, but Lenny seems to get really defeated and retreats a little bit, but like he's got Cat, he's got some really good pieces like Bam. I don't know. I think you could turn that roster around into a good playoff team with a trade or 2 and some good active waiver wiring. I think it's got to be Dre. Kidder's team, like when you look at it, is like he wanted to trade to build depth, and he did. Like he's got a good team. Miles Turner's like in the top 15, I think, at the moment in terms of basketball monster. He's got power forward center.
He's blocked that many shots, but he still is. So he's just crazy. That's a steal.
Yeah, he's getting 3 blocks, 3.2 blocks. He's getting more boards than he normally would, 8.5. Still hitting threes. I think he's actually shooting higher percentage than he usually does. Cole Anthony, like, man, 20 points, 7 boards, 5 assists on decent field goal with threes. Like that's a good point guard. He's got SGA, Nurk, Levine, Tatum, potentially Oladipo might come back and do something. So the team is good. I think,
it's a bit of big man though. He doesn't, like, Nurk ain't gonna win him anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Miles and and Tatum that play power forward. So, it's solid, but I think he's about to be 0-4, and can he come back from 0-4 in a 12-team league with 6 playoff spots? I don't know. That's gonna be a big ask.
What's your prediction for the All-Star game this year? Do you feel loyalty? I would ask this question. Do you feel loyalty to your team from last year?
Oh, yeah, a little. Like I'd like to run it back. But in saying that, I'll just turn up and play whoever with whoever. And I don't know. I was thinking the other day, maybe it would be a good idea to, this might be controversial, to have different captains. And then what that does is creates a little bit more mystique around who's going to get the number 1 pick and who gets, who goes first out of you and Kede. That could be just a suggestion for the powers that be.
That's what we originally thought. So Kede said, like, if he loses again this year, then maybe we switch to different captains and have like two different players. But I don't know. Maybe we do that this year. I think it'll be interesting. I obviously love the power of being captain, and don't want to give it up easy. But I think it'll be interesting. To see, because I reckon depending on the player, then AJ might go with Kide, or like Dre might go with me or something. I don't know.
I think either way, it's going to be interesting. Everyone's, it's so long. There's so long until the game. We could even, there's so much time, we could even have like 3-game series over the season. I don't know.
That would actually kind of be sick.
Get the teams picked in the next few weeks, have one before the All-Star break, one during the All-Star break, and then one after the season or something like that. I don't know. There's lots of possibilities, but everyone's going to talk shit. We know that will always remain constant. Probably about 90% of us will not be fit. Will be an injury risk, but we're gonna try our absolute best, and the chips will fall where they lay, man. It's gonna be good. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That is a good thing. Maybe we put it to vote to see if we change the team captains, to see what people think.
Yeah. Cool. It'll just make it a little more. You guys will have to try a little bit harder to.
The problem is that like, yeah, because I'd imagine if B was captain, there's a good chance that he wouldn't take either me or Kitty first.
That's wild. That's truly wild.
Because he wouldn't take me, and I don't know if he'd just take Kitty first. Then would the teams be too unfair?
If he did that, like, I mean, he's doing crazy things at the moment, so maybe he would do that.
I would say, like, he would look at the teams and it'd be like, okay, he's obviously not going to draft me, and he'd be like, oh, Kide just doesn't, like, if based off last year, like, he's saying he's getting fit, but Kide is like unfit, hadn't touched a basketball in years. B will say, nah, I'm not drafting him. I'll go with someone like Fred or something, or Andre. And then the person will go draft probably me and Kiddy next. But then I think it just becomes, would that be too unfair in our league?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a blowout. Like if you had you and Kiddy on the same team, but that's the kind of interesting things that could unfold. Otherwise I think the rosters will probably roll out as per the ADPs. Like, yeah, that's what I'm feeling is going to happen. We're going to have me and the Jews right at the end of the rosters. Somebody's going to reach for Renzo because no one, I mean, only a few of us probably have seen him play, not me. I haven't. So, it's going to be there's not too many kind of intriguing things in the draft otherwise, but
that's true.
Yeah, everyone's kind of a known commodity at this point.
I think that's so we'll actually make it more interesting because the draft is really exciting to me, but maybe because I'm picking and I'm trying to like work it out. But like when I look at the draft, it's kind of set. It just depends who gets first pick, and then I probably have like one real choice.
Yeah,
like other than that, it's set. Like I feel like AJ and Andre are going to go 1 and 2. It's just set. And then I think the decision will be on like their 3rd and 4th pick. But then I think that's it. And Kitty kind of knows that too. So maybe it does change it because it's the only real decision is 3 and 4.
Yeah, we have to redo the ADPs though, if that's the case, because
that's fine.
we should have put you guys on there anyway. Like it should have been
Oh, actually, would have been interesting to see where people would rank who.
Yeah, but maybe put it to a vote. I don't know. Maybe it's a completely wild suggestion. Everyone's going to tell me to shut up, but I don't know.
So what's your what's your prediction on your performance this year for that game?
I have every intention to get mildly fit and perform a lot better than I did. So
if I draft you, I'm driving to your house and picking you up and we're shooting hoops every week.
That's probably what you'll need to do. I got to get my diet right as well. Way too many Snickers and gummy bears for me in the last little while. But if I can get those things sorted, then I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I'll have fun regardless, but you have a lot more fun when you're not stumbling up the court with a hole in your lungs. And the one good thing is I haven't drunk alcohol in 2 months, and because they have not vaped as well. So I think that'll help just set the baseline fitness a little bit. But it's a big if, and I think the main thing I offer on the court is defense. And without good lateral fitness and being able to chase people around and stay close to people, then you can't play good defense. So that's kind of where I've made my minutes count throughout my basketball career. It was just guarding the first or second best player on the court and making life difficult for them and trying to get inside their head. And then everything else kind of the offense is pretty average, but otherwise, streaky shot. So like if I can get in a little bit of shape, man, it's going to be fun.
Who would you say is anybody overrated in our team and now in the league?
I think so. I didn't know what to expect for Freddie and Z. They exceeded my my kind of predictions of how they were going to play, and I ranked them accordingly in the rankings. I think AJ is like a really good player. I was expecting AJ to dominate more in that game. I won't lie. AJ had some moments, but I don't think AJ probably gave his best account of who he is. Like you can see that he's a pure point guard and he's athletic, plays good D. Like he definitely defensively, he was like rock solid, made our lives really, really difficult. But on offense, I didn't see probably some of the things that were hyped up before the game. And maybe that's just because he didn't need to, because you were just carrying the team. But and Z was hitting shots and Fred was hitting shots. But that's probably the one on offense. AJ was the one thing that I didn't really see what I was kind of hoping for. So just maybe spark a little fire under AJ, and hopefully he's on my team, and we can make some people's lives difficult in the backcourt.
What about your team? Was anybody overrated, underrated?
No, I think we all just played like shit, man, to be honest. Like we had moments where things looked like they were coming together, but we just never had cohesiveness on the court. And lack of fitness with lack of cohesiveness means you're going to not win any games. So
there's nothing you could have done last year to win. Like you couldn't have changed the system. You couldn't have changed the defense, the way offense. It was just an how.
Yeah, we just weren't hitting shots, and we weren't moving the rock around. We needed to go into Kere and run the offense through him, but we just weren't able to. And we tried it and we tried it and we tried it, and it didn't really pan out because he was getting swarmed. And I think you guys are playing a zone or something. I can't remember, but it was really difficult. So I think it just was what it was. Like it wasn't going to happen for us that day. But if we do it all again, and some of the circumstances change, then I think we could win.
I don't think Kidder's team's winning next time, but I think we can wrap it up there. Thanks for the chat. Looking forward to see how your team panned out this year. Like you said, you are hoping that you don't blow it up, but my money is on that you do. I think you have maybe a rough week after you play me, and then you start getting desperate. But yeah.
I'm just trying to maximize these early weeks where I can get as many wins as possible, so that when I do have a loss or two, it's not going to hurt too much, and I won't get emotional and blow the team up. So, but no, I'm trying my very best to just stay the course and be calculated with it. And maybe dropping Conley was a mistake. Who knows? We'll see. Ricky Rubio's playing pretty well, so. But either way, that's my 8th or 9th player, so it's not a deal breaker, but it's going to be fun. But thank you for having me on the podcast, and hopefully
you on again.
Yeah, for sure. But peace out.
Cheers, bro. See ya
later.